Alright, welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about healthy foods and why a lot of people, even though they're eating healthy, they're not losing weight. This is important for you to understand because you might be eating these same foods thinking it's healthy, but these are the exact things that are actually keeping you overweight.
Roshan here. If you're not familiar with me, I'm a nationally certified personal trainer. I have a formal educational background in exercise science, and I help people with sedentary jobs and lifestyle get into shape.
So like I said, just because you're eating healthy does not mean you will lose weight. If you don't understand this, then you might be eating these same exact foods thinking it's healthy, but these are exactly what's keeping you fat. Okay, to help understand this, I'm gonna give you a scenario. We're gonna talk about Jerry. And Jerry loves junk food. He likes to eat McDonald's, he likes to eat chips, he likes to drink soda. Basically, he just likes junk food, right? He wants to lose some weight, so he goes on a diet and he cuts out all of these junk food, all of these sugary drinks, and he goes on a diet to eat healthy food. And he's been dieting for a while now, and he starts seeing some progress. He's losing weight. A few weeks goes by, he lost like 4 to 5 pounds, right? That's pretty good. Within 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he loses 4 to 5 pounds. All of a sudden, Jerry hits a plateau. He's not losing weight anymore, even though he's still eating healthy. A few days later, Jerry goes back on the scale and he sees that he's actually gaining weight. All right. And he's not eating junk food anymore. He's eating healthy. So what gives? Why is Jerry now hitting a weight loss plateau and then now he's gaining some weight back? A lot of people have this misconception that if you eat healthy, then you will become healthy. You will lose weight if you just eat healthy. And a lot of people also think that just because they're eating this healthy food, it will directly mean that they are going to lose weight because as a result of eating this healthy food. I've had some clients where they think that since they're eating minimally processed food and minimal ingredients food, they're eating healthy and that means that they're going to lose weight. But what they don't understand is these foods are very dense in calories and they end up putting them over their daily caloric intake. And if you're consistently over your daily caloric intake, which is the amount of calories your body needs to carry out daily functions for it to survive and live, eating more calories than the amount of calories your body needs, then it will store those calories as body fat, especially if it's consistently over time. And to prove my point, you can absolutely be overweight even if you're eating 100% healthy. Look at sumo wrestlers, for example. A lot of Japanese sumo wrestlers eat a very, very healthy diet, but they're eating so many calories per day that they are overweight. But that's their sport, right? So that's what they do and they're doing it on purpose. But chances are, if you're watching this video, you're not a sumo wrestler and you don't want to, gain weight on purpose. And like I said, this is because it all comes down to calories. If you're eating more calories than your body needs, it will store those calories as body fat. Each person has their own individual calories that they need to live. So how do you test it? What you do is you eat at those calories. So for example, if you go on a calorie calculator, you put in all that information, your age, your weight, your height, your activity level, your gender, right? What it will do is it will spit out some calories. An example, let's say those calories are 2,500. What you need to do now is eat at those calories, at those 2,500 calories, and weigh yourself every morning. And if you maintain your body weight over the course of 1 week, and if you average out to weigh the same in that 1 week, those calories are your actual maintenance calories. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of healthy foods that are actually super high in calories that you need to be mindful of. Some examples are nuts. Now, these are all kinds of nuts. It can be almonds, cashews, macadamia nuts, any other nuts you can think of. Seeds, so like sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, these are also very high in calories. Peanut butter is also thought to be healthy, but it is also very, very high in calories. So are avocados, butter, right? Butter is thought to be a pretty healthy thing, but it is also very high in calories. Not to mention overnight oats. That shit is one of my biggest pet peeves. People thinking that if they eat that, for some reason, they'll magically turn into, I don't know, Chris Hemsworth when he's on Thor physique. And a lot of companies will take advantage of this, okay? So these so-called healthy and thought to be healthy foods are very high in calories, but the companies don't care because people are buy what they think is good. And what happens is they'll market it as no GMO, no gluten, no chemicals, no preservatives, right? And all those things are great, right? But the thing is, those foods are still high in calories, but they try to make it seem like, oh, it's super healthy, it will help you lose weight and all these things. And so what you need to do is be careful of those labels and go ahead and turn food around and take a look at the nutrition label. Because what else they do is they also say that these things are high in protein. There's like 3 grams of protein for like 200 calories. Like it's 3 grams of protein for 200 calories is not worth it, right? It's not good. So you want to take a look at the nutrition label. You want to take a look at the serving size and how many calories it is per serving. Other companies do is they lower the serving size to such a ridiculously low amount. for example, like 5 grams, and then they label it like 5 calories. You gotta be mindful of that as well. And I also want to touch on why these healthy foods are so high in calories. It's usually because they're so high in fat. And 1 gram of fat is equal to 9 calories. So that's more than double 1 gram of protein or 1 gram of fat, which are 4 calories per 1 gram. When you have something that's really dense in fat, it usually means that that food is going to be also dense in calories. You don't need to completely avoid these foods unless you don't like them and you just eat them because you think it's healthy and it will help you lose weight. But if you genuinely like to eat avocados or butter or whatever, you want to make sure that you're incorporating them within your daily calorie intake. Like I mentioned earlier, you want to figure out what your daily calorie intake is, and you go ahead and add these foods into your daily calorie intake, or you want to moderate these portions. So you want to eat slightly less amounts of them, and that will bring down your total daily calories consumed. And there's another perception thing I want to talk about here, is that the perception of small portions. A lot of people's perception of small is actually skewed. So for example, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter is like 200 calories, right? But people don't understand how little 2 tablespoons of peanut butter is. So they'll like slab on a bunch onto their bread and make a peanut butter sandwich, thinking that's 200 calories, but it's actually more. So you want to be also very mindful of the measurements. You can use a tablespoon, like a literal tablespoon, and put that out so that, and then you can track it onto your calorie counter or whatever you use to track calories. But my point is, if your portion perception is skewed and you're eating more than what is actually there, for example, you think it's 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, but then you take more and you eat a few other perceived to be healthy foods like butter and avocado, and you think it's a certain calories or it's a certain amount, but it's more than double that amount or whatever. So like another example is dried fruits. If you're eating dried fruits throughout the day, right, you're just snacking on them thinking it's healthy, they're also very, 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 very high in calories. So you want to be very mindful of those as well. So like, let's say in the morning you're eating butter with eggs, right? You like to, fry your eggs in butter, totally normal. But a lot of people tend to use more butter than they need, and also they don't realize how many calories are in butter. Like for example, 10 grams of butter has about like 70 calories, right? So you want to be mindful of that. But if you're not mindful, so let's say like you're eating some butter with your eggs, and then in the afternoon you have like an avocado with your lunch, and later you have some peanut butter, right? And then after you eat some more dried fruits, right? Those calories add up big time because those foods are calorie dense, unless you're mindful of them and you're tracking them into your daily calorie intake. Now you can moderate these portions by using food logging apps like MyFitnessPal, MacroFactor, or whatever. And logging these foods will help you bring more food awareness. That way you understand how many calories are in what, and it will start building your intuitions to how much food you should be intaking. And these apps are super convenient because all you gotta do is just enter the portion of food you've eaten, and it will keep a track of calories for you. So you don't have to like go on throughout the day, take a piece of paper and write them down. You just go ahead and write down whatever food you ate, let's say 1 whole avocado, and it will keep a track of that. Another thing I want to mention is there is no such thing as a superfood. It is a marketing tactic used by food companies for them to get you to buy their shit. And if you understand the concept I've covered in this video, which is all foods are undermined by calories, a lot of seemingly healthy foods can be very high in calories, you should understand that no specific healthy food directly results in you losing weight by consuming them. So in conclusion, you don't have to eat these so-called healthy foods just to try and lose weight. There is no food in all of God's existence. If you eat, it will result in you losing weight. If you like to eat that thing, by all means, go ahead and eat it. Just be mindful of those foods and know that those foods are high in calories. Track those foods into your daily calorie intake. Just because you're eating healthy does not mean you will automatically lose weight. You can absolutely gain weight eating food that are high in calories. So you want to be mindful of these things, and it is an absolute game changer if you start tracking your calories, if you start tracking your meals and the portions of your food. That way, you will start building habits and intuitions on how many calories are in which food. That way, later down the line, you can eat things without tracking calories. But for now, especially if you're starting out on your weight loss journey or you're struggling to lose weight, then you can go ahead and start tracking how many calories you're eating per day and figuring out your daily caloric intake. Not avoiding, but moderating those foods, unless you just don't like to eat them and you thought that they are going to help you lose weight. Well, now you know they're not going to help you lose weight. They're just food, right? That has calories, and you want to use them methodically and stay within your daily calorie intake. If you're struggling to lose weight and you've went on multiple diets and you've failed multiple times and you're just tired of dieting and you don't know what to do with your diet, there's a link in the description that you can click for a free call with me. It's a call where I help you figure out what the problem is and how you can solve it, right? But you don't have to click it. It's just there if you want to. You can check it out whenever you're free or whenever you can scroll down. Otherwise, that's it for this video. If you like this video, go ahead and drop it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about this video, drop them in the comments. I will answer them for you. If you want me to make a video on something else in the future, go ahead and drop that in the comments as well, because I read all the comments and I will make a video if I think it will help you lose weight. If you want more videos like this, subscribe. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on another one. Bye.